Chosen one, stop scrolling and listen carefully. Because this is not just another message passing through your day. This is a divine interruption. And this word has reached you because God Himself has ordained this moment for your ears. Out of 2 billion people on this earth, the Lord has set His attention on you and brought you here to hear what many will ignore but what your spirit must not miss. You have prayed for a sign, cried through private battles, carried financial pressure in silence, and wondered how much longer you would have to wait before heaven answered in a way you could finally recognize. Hear me clearly. Your waiting has not been wasted. And this Sunday is not ordinary. This Sunday is a spiritual marker. This Sunday is a moment of alignment. This Sunday, God is calling you to position your heart to receive a major financial breakthrough that has been forming behind the scenes while you thought nothing was moving. What is about to happen is bigger than money alone. It is about release. It is about restoration. It is about God shifting you out of survival and into a new season of provision, peace, and purpose. That is why the enemy has attacked your thoughts, drained your strength, and tried to make you believe that delay meant denial. But delay is not denial. And your Father in heaven has not forgotten your name, your need, or your calling. Chosen one, do not treat this casually. Do not listen with half faith. Do not let fear talk you out of what obedience is about to open. God is saying that this blessing is connected to your assignment. And if you will receive this word with bold faith, what begins this Sunday will become a sign that your season is truly changing. You are not overlooked. You are not abandoned. You are chosen, marked, and called for such a time as this. Before we go deeper, comment 777 below and declare, I receive what God is releasing this Sunday. Then, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this message with someone who needs confirmation that God is still moving. Stay with me, because what God is about to reveal next will reach even deeper than what you have heard so far. You were not brought this far just to remain in a cycle of pressure, delay, and silent exhaustion. God has been watching every hidden moment, every tear you never explained, every night you lay awake thinking about what still has not changed, and every time you kept going when your strength felt too thin for the battle in front of you. There is a reason your life has felt marked, and there is a reason ordinary explanations have never fully satisfied your spirit. The hand of God has been on you for longer than you realize. Even when people misunderstood you, overlooked you, or misjudged the weight you were carrying, heaven never lost sight of you. You have been set apart. And with that setting apart came warfare, stretching, isolation, and seasons that forced you to trust God beyond what was comfortable. What others called delay, God was using as preparation. What looked like being denied was often divine protection. What felt like abandonment was actually a hidden season of forming, strengthening, and consecrating your heart for what you are now approaching. This is why your journey has not looked simple. This is why you have had to learn how to keep believing while surrounded by uncertainty. This is why the attacks against your peace, your confidence, and your finances have felt so targeted. The enemy does not fight empty people this hard. Darkness does not waste pressure on a life that carries no purpose. The intensity around you has been revealing the value within you, even when you did not have language for it. God is not just raising up someone who wants relief. He is raising up someone who can be trusted with responsibility. Someone who will not worship the blessing more than the blesser. Someone who understands that provision is connected to purpose. That is why this coming breakthrough is about more than bills being paid, more than burdens lifting, more than seeing sudden movement in the natural. It is about heaven confirming what hell tried to erase from your mind. You have been called, preserved, and appointed for a work that reaches beyond yourself. The Lord is not preparing you merely to escape hardship. He is preparing you to stand in authority, to walk in clarity, to carry blessing without fear, and to become a vessel through which His goodness can reach other people. So do not despise the process that made you pray deeper, see clearer, and depend on God more fully than before. The very things that tried to break you have been forced to build something in you. And now, the season is turning. What God is about to release will meet your need. But it will also reveal your assignment in a greater way than you have yet understood. What makes this moment so serious is that you are standing in a narrow window of decision. And what you do with this word matters more than you know. This is not a light encouragement meant to make you feel better for a few minutes and then disappear by nightfall. This is a warning, a summons, and an invitation all at once. God is showing you that a shift has already begun. But if you keep speaking like someone defeated, thinking like someone forgotten, and hesitating like someone with no covering over their life, you can remain emotionally trapped in a season that heaven is already trying to move you out of. That is the danger. Not that God is unwilling to bless you, but that fear, bitterness, exhaustion, and unbelief can make you sit down in a place you were only supposed to pass through. The battle around your mind has not been random. The pressure on your finances has not been small. The heaviness you have felt in private has not been imaginary. There has been a real attempt to wear down your faith before the release, to make you doubt before the door opens, to make you speak death over the very future God is trying to place in your hands. But hear this with trembling if you must. What has been forming in the unseen is not fragile, and it is not late. God is already moving pieces you cannot yet touch, opening paths you cannot yet see, and preparing an answer greater than what your fear has allowed you to imagine. This is why you cannot afford to drift through these next moments carelessly. This is why this Sunday must not find you cold, distracted, cynical, or half awake in spirit. It must find you watching, praying, listening, and ready. Because when heaven marks a moment, the wise do not mock it, and the wounded do not sleep through it. They rise. They pay attention. They agree with God. See, is perfect. Lewis once wrote, "Aim at heaven, and you will get earth thrown in. Aim at earth, and you will get neither." In mere Christianity, that truth cuts straight through the confusion of this hour. If you keep chasing only relief, you will stay anxious. But if you fix your heart on God, even the earthly things that seemed impossible can begin to fall into place under His order. So do not reduce this word to money only. This is about alignment. This is about rescue. This is about your soul coming out of agreement with despair. The shift has begun, but your response matters now. Will you keep bowing to what tried to break you? Or will you finally believe that God can move before you ever see the evidence? If you believe He is already working, comment now, "I believe before I see." You cannot afford to treat this season like every other season, because the cost of remaining spiritually passive has become too high. What once looked like a temporary struggle has been trying to grow roots in your thinking, your expectations, and your identity. That is what makes this so dangerous. If the enemy cannot destroy your calling outright, he will try to exhaust you until you no longer act like the person God anointed you to be. He will make survival feel normal. He will make fear sound wise. He will make delay feel permanent. He will make you speak cautiously where God is telling you to stand boldly. And little by little, if you are not watchful, you can begin to adjust to chains you were never meant to wear. This is why heaven is pressing this word so urgently into your spirit. You have been too close to agreeing with grief, too close to partnering with disappointment, too close to accepting lack as if it were your lifelong portion. But it is not. And if you do not confront that lie now, It will keep trying to shrink your faith right at the edge of breakthrough. Understand the seriousness of this. Some doors do not open in an atmosphere of constant doubt, complaint, and inner surrender to despair. God is merciful, yes, but He is also calling you to rise, to discern, to resist what has been feeding on your weariness. The pressure on your finances has not only been about money, it has been an attack against your confidence, your obedience, your peace, and your sense of spiritual authority. The longer the strain continued, the more it tried to whisper, "Nothing will change. Nothing is coming. Nothing is shifting." But that whisper is a lie sent to paralyze you before the hand of God becomes visible. This is the hour to break agreement with every sentence hell has repeated over your life. This is the hour to reject the language of defeat. Because what is at stake is greater than your comfort. Your response in this season is shaping how you will step into the next one. God is not only bringing provision, He is demanding awakening. He is not only lifting burdens, He is restoring the fire that pressure tried to bury. So do not sink back into numbness now. Do not become casual now. Do not let this holy warning pass over you like background noise. Stand up in your spirit. Pay attention. Pray with urgency. Guard your mouth. Guard your mind. What is near is too important to meet with a sleepy heart. Because this next movement of God in your life will require faith, readiness, and full surrender. There are moments when God does not speak to you through thunder, but through the breaking point of an ordinary day. And that is what makes this so personal. There was a woman who had reached the edge of herself. She was not standing on a stage. She was not known by crowds. She was not living in some dramatic miracle story that looked beautiful from the outside. She was sitting at a small kitchen table with unpaid bills spread in front of her, trying to decide which need could wait and which one could not. The rent was due. Her child needed school supplies. Her body was tired. Her mind was tired. And even her prayers had become tired. She still believed in God, but she no longer knew how to sound strong when she prayed. She whispered instead of declared. She wept instead of sang. She sat there in silence, staring at numbers that did not add up, feeling the crushing humiliation of not knowing how everything would be covered. And yet, in that quiet room, with no audience and no applause, something holy began to happen. God did not first change the numbers on the table. He changed the posture of her heart. Deep inside, she felt a conviction rise. Stop speaking like you are abandoned. Stop repeating what fear has been preaching. Forgive the people who wounded you. Release the bitterness you keep calling protection. Get up tomorrow and obey me before you understand me. That word pierced her because it was not merely comforting, it was demanding. It asked her to trust when her circumstances gave her no reason to feel secure. It asked her to believe before anything visible had shifted. The next morning, nothing looked spectacular. The bills were still there. The pressure was still real. But something in her had changed. She stopped saying, "I'm finished." She stopped saying, "Nothing ever changes for me." She began saying, "God will make a way for me. God sees this house. God sees this need. God will not fail me now." And that same week, a delayed payment she had long given up on was suddenly released. A job connection she thought had disappeared called back. An opportunity opened that she could not have forced by her own strength. Was it only about money? No. It was about what happened before the money moved. Her spirit came out of agreement with despair. Her mouth stopped partnering with defeat. Her heart turned back into alignment with heaven. That is why this matters for you, because you may be waiting for God to change the outside while He is commanding something inside you to rise first. Some of you are closer to breakthrough than you think, but you are still talking like captives, thinking like victims, and carrying pain that God has already told you to release. C. 2. Lewis wrote, "Courage, dear heart. In the voyage of the dawn treader, those words were spoken in the middle of fear, not after it. And that is your word right now, courage. Dear heart, courage in the pressure, courage in the silence, courage while the answer is still forming. God is not asking you to pretend the struggle is easy. He is asking you not to surrender your soul to it. So hear this clearly. Your breaking point can become your turning point if you obey in the middle of weakness. Have you ever been one step from giving up, and then God held you up anyway? If that is you, write below, God held me up. What God is about to place in your hands is not disconnected from why He marked your life in the first place. This is where many people misunderstand the blessing. They think provision is only about comfort. They think increase is only about escape. They think financial breakthrough is simply God removing pressure so they can finally breathe again. But what is coming to you carries a deeper weight than that. Yes, God sees the strain. Yes, He sees the nights of worry, the private calculations, the pressure that has pressed against your mind until even rest felt difficult. Yes, He cares about the burden being lifted, but He is not bringing you into increase just so you can live smaller with more security. He is bringing you into increase because your assignment requires strength, reach, stability, and resources. There are people you are meant to help, words you are meant to release, prayers you are meant to pray, spaces you are meant to enter, and lives that will be touched because God trusted you with what once seemed too great for your hands. That is why you must understand this now. If your mindset stays trapped in survival, you will mishandle what heaven is trying to send. If fear still governs you, you will clutch what God meant you to carry with open hands. If scarcity still defines you, you may receive the blessing, but remain emotionally chained to the season that came before it. And God is not merely trying to change your bank account. He is trying to enlarge your spirit, strengthen your stewardship, and establish you as someone who can carry provision without losing humility, carry abundance without losing obedience, and carry influence without forgetting the one who opened the door. This is serious, because some people pray for increase but are not ready for the responsibility that comes with it. They want the overflow, but not the surrender. They want the open door, but not the consecrated life. They want the visible hand of God, but not the inward transformation that allows them to walk faithfully after the miracle arrives. But you are being called higher than that. The Lord is saying that what is coming must not become your idol. It must become your instrument. It must become a tool in the hand of someone who remembers the pain they came through, the prayers that carried them, and the God who kept them alive through seasons they thought would break them. So let this settle deep in your spirit. This breakthrough is not separating you from your calling. It is funding it. It is not distracting you from your purpose. It is strengthening it. It is not just about your relief. It is about your readiness. And if you receive that truth now, you will not only celebrate what God sends, you will know how to carry it with reverence, wisdom, and holy fear. What you speak in this hour matters more than you think, because your mouth has been standing at the border of two worlds. One keeps repeating the language of loss, delay, fear, and exhaustion. The other is calling you into agreement with what God has already spoken over your future. You cannot keep feeding both. You cannot declare faith on one day and then spend the next days prophesying ruin over your own life. There comes a moment when you must decide whether your voice will continue echoing the pain of the last season or begin announcing the arrival of the next one. This is that moment. This is not about pretending pressure does not exist. It is about refusing to let pressure become your prophet. Too many times the enemy has not needed to send a new attack because he was content to let the old wound keep speaking. He was content to let disappointment talk through your mouth. He was content to let weariness shape your expectations. He was content to let you rehearse the worst until your spirit grew used to darkness. But that cycle must break now. God is calling you to speak differently because he is bringing you into a different season. Stop saying, "Nothing ever changes." Stop saying, "I will always struggle." Stop saying, "Maybe this word is for someone else, but not for me." Stop saying, "I have missed my time." Those are not harmless sentences. They are chains wrapped in language. They are seeds of defeat planted by repeated agreement with fear. And if you keep watering them, they will keep growing over places where faith should have been rising. The Lord is saying, guard your mouth because your heart is being retrained for victory. Guard your words because heaven is listening to what you keep agreeing with. Guard your confession because the season ahead cannot be entered with the vocabulary of captivity. You need new speech for a new mantle. You need new words for a new level of trust. You need to declare, even with trembling hands, God is making a way for me. You need to say, what he promised me will not die in delay. You need to say, I will not bow to fear. I will not partner with despair. And I will not call myself forgotten when God still calls me chosen. Let the sound coming out of you begin to match the hand of God moving around you. Let your words stop dragging you backward. Let your mouth come into alignment with heaven. Because there are doors that open when faith speaks, burdens that break when truth is declared, and chains that weaken when a weary soul finally refuses to keep agreeing with darkness. Speak life now. Speak hope now. Speak as someone who expects God to answer. Because what is coming next will require a voice that no longer sounds like defeat. This Sunday is not meant to be treated like just another turn of the calendar. Another service. Another quiet morning. Another day you survive and then forget by evening. No. Hear this with the full weight of your spirit awake. This Sunday is a marker. It is not the source of your breakthrough, because God alone is your source. But it is a moment heaven is using to call your attention, to gather your faith, and to position your heart for what is already beginning to move. Some of you have been waiting so long that you no longer know how to expect anything without immediately protecting yourself from disappointment. You have learned how to lower your expectations before life can wound you again. You have trained yourself to stay guarded, to stay careful, to stay numb. But this Sunday, God is confronting that numbness. He is not asking you to manufacture emotion. He is asking you to come into agreement. He is asking you to stop standing at the door of a new season with the mindset of the old one still wrapped around your soul. Because that is the real danger now, not that God will fail to move, but that you will meet a holy moment with a tired heart that no longer knows how to respond. This Sunday, lift your head. This Sunday, pray differently. This Sunday, worship like someone who has been warned that heaven is doing more than you can presently measure. This Sunday, do not come in cold. Do not come in distracted. Do not come in arguing inwardly with every promise God places before you. Come in ready. Come in yielded. Come in saying, Lord, if you are shifting my season, I will not resist you with fear. Incre. Vend. S. Lewis once wrote, you have never talked to a mere mortal. In the weight of glory, that truth reminds you that your life is not small, your soul is not common, and your calling is not accidental. You are not an invisible person wandering through an invisible season. God is dealing with someone eternal, someone marked, someone whose obedience in this hour carries more weight than they realize. So do not despise this moment. Do not reduce it to a date on a calendar. Let this Sunday become a line in the sand between who you were under pressure and who you are becoming under God's hand. Let it be the place where your fear loses its grip, where your prayer regains its fire, where your expectation rises again, and where your spirit says yes before your eyes see any evidence. Will you prepare your heart for this Sunday in faith? Or will you let another holy moment pass you by? If you are ready, write below, "I'm ready." What God places in your hands in this next season is not meant to end with you. That is one of the holiest truths hidden inside provision. And many miss it because they are so focused on their own pain that they forget the greater design of the blessing. Yes, God wants to relieve the pressure. Yes, He wants to answer the cries you have carried in secret. Yes, He wants to bring movement where there has been strain, and peace where there has been fear. But when heaven releases increase, it is never only about making one life more comfortable. It is also about making one life more useful in the hands of God. The enemy wants you to think like this: if I ever come into abundance, I must hold it tightly, protect it obsessively, and never risk letting anything go. That is the voice of fear. That is the language of someone who still believes the source is fragile. But when God becomes your confidence, generosity stops feeling dangerous and starts becoming natural. You begin to understand that giving is not loss when it is led by God. It is evidence that fear is losing its control over you. It is proof that your heart is no longer chained to scarcity. The closed hand is often the mark of panic, but the open hand is often the mark of trust. And this matters now, because what is coming cannot be carried by someone who still thinks like a captive. God is not calling you merely to receive. He is calling you to become a vessel, a channel, a life through which His goodness can continue moving. There will be people who are strengthened because you remember what it felt like to struggle. There will be people who are fed, helped, comforted, and restored because you did not let your past pain make you hard. So even now, before the full breakthrough is visible, let your heart begin to come into agreement with this truth. When God blesses you, He is also training you to bless others, not to perform, not to impress, not to earn His love, but to reflect His heart. The next season will test not only whether you can receive with faith, but whether you can release with wisdom, compassion, and freedom. And when you learn that holy rhythm of receiving and releasing, you will discover that abundance is not merely something God gives you. It is something He teaches you to carry without fear. Before the door opens fully, before the weight breaks completely, before the release settles into every area of your life, there is one more thing. Heaven is pressing with unmistakable urgency. You must forgive. Not later. Not when the pain feels smaller. Not when the other person finally explains what they did. Now. Because unforgiveness does more than preserve a memory. It preserves a chain. It keeps your spirit tied to the very place God is trying to bring you out of. Many people ask for breakthrough while still holding the poison of old wounds in their hearts. And then they wonder why peace feels distant, why rest feels unnatural, why they cannot fully receive what God is placing before them. It is because bitterness crowds the inner room where trust, peace, and holy expectation are meant to live. Hear this clearly. Forgiveness does not say the wound was small. It does not call evil good. It does not deny betrayal, humiliation, abandonment, or loss. It simply refuses to let yesterday continue ruling tomorrow. And this is why the matter is so serious. If you carry offense into a new season, offense will try to interpret everything God does through the lens of pain. It will make you suspicious of goodness. It will make you uncomfortable with peace. It will make you brace for betrayal even in the middle of blessing. God does not want you stepping into increase while still bleeding over what should have been surrendered at His feet. He is not only trying to free your hands, He is trying to free your heart. Some of you have prayed for financial release while your soul is still bound to names, memories, conversations, and injustices that replay in secret. And the Lord is saying, enough. This ends here. The wound will no longer be your identity. The betrayal will no longer be your prophecy. The pain will no longer sit on the throne of your inner life. Lay it down. Release them. Release the offense. Release the right to rehearse it one more time. Release the bitterness you have mistaken for protection. Because what feels like self-defense may actually be the wall keeping your soul from resting under the hand of God. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is warfare. It is a holy act of separation from the old season. It is the moment you stop letting what hurt you define what comes next. So do not resist this part of the word. The breakthrough you have been crying for is not only about open doors, provision, and visible answers. It is also about becoming inwardly free enough to walk through those doors without dragging chains behind you. Now hear the final charge of this word and let it settle deep into your spirit. Because the season that tried to break you will not be the season that defines you. The fear, the delay, the silent tears, the pressure that sat on your chest, the nights you questioned how much longer you could keep enduring, the moments you felt unseen even while praying, the strain that touched your finances, your peace, your confidence, and your hope. None of it will have the final say over your life. God will, and what He is speaking over you now is not weakness, not retreat, not another cycle of barely surviving, but emergence, alignment, provision, and holy restoration. You have been pressed, but you were not crushed. You have been opposed, but you were not erased. You have been delayed, but you were not denied. You have walked through fire, and the fire did not get the right to name you. God still names you. God still calls you. God still covers you. And now He is calling you to stand at the edge of this new season with faith, not fear, with surrender, not resistance, with expectation, not numbness. This is your moment to stop agreeing with what tried to reduce you. This is your moment to stop repeating the language of your lowest season. This is your moment to rise inwardly and say, I will not keep bowing to fear. I will not keep partnering with despair. I will not keep calling myself forgotten when God still remembers my name. The Lord is not only preparing provision for you, He is preparing new stability within you, new strength within you, new discipline within you, and new clarity within you. He is restoring what pressure drained. He is rebuilding what sorrow weakened. He is reordering what fear tried to scatter. He is breaking the power of old heaviness, old agreements, old wounds, and old chains that followed you for too long. As this Sunday draws near, do not let your spirit go cold. Stay awake in prayer. Stay soft before God. Stay ready in faith. Mark this moment. Pray into it. Worship through it. Do not treat lightly what heaven is pressing so personally into your life. This is not only about money. This is about peace returning, confidence returning, hope returning, and your soul coming back into agreement with the goodness of God. This is about stepping into a season where provision and purpose walk together under His hand. This is about becoming the person who can carry what God sends without losing reverence, obedience, humility, or love. So take this word personally, because it was meant to find you personally. And now, before this message closes, let this prayer become your prayer. Father, in the name of Jesus, I come before you with an open heart. I thank you for not forgetting me in the middle of my struggle. I thank you for seeing every burden I carried in silence, every financial pressure I could not explain, every tear I wiped away when no one else was around. Lord, I surrender my fear, my disappointment, my exhaustion, and every lie that tried to convince me that my season would never change. I renounce despair. I renounce bitterness. I renounce every agreement I made with lack, delay, and defeat. Wash my heart clean and make me ready for what you are releasing. Teach me to trust you before I see the evidence. Teach me to obey you before I understand every detail. Teach me to forgive what still hurts, to release what still weighs on me, and to walk forward without dragging old chains into a new season. Father, if this is truly my hour of breakthrough, then prepare me not only to receive it, but to carry it well. Let provision come under your lordship. Let open doors come with wisdom. Let increase come with humility. Let blessing come with holiness. Make me a vessel you can trust, a life that reflects your heart, a person who does not worship the gift more than the giver. I pray that what begins this Sunday will be marked by your peace, your order, and your hand upon my life. Let every door you have appointed open at the right time. Let every counterfeit path close. Let every delay that served its purpose end. Let every burden that has tormented my mind lose its power in the name of Jesus. Restore my expectation. Restore my joy in prayer. Restore my confidence in your goodness. And when you bless me, let me remain surrendered, grateful, generous, and faithful. I receive your peace. I receive your direction. I receive your correction. I receive your provision. I receive what you are releasing over my life. And I declare that fear will not rule me. The past will not define me. And lack will not speak louder than your promise. In Jesus' name, Amen.